Erica Lim. These are my teammates Cody, Caroline, and Andrew, and we are Team 1.4 presenting the salsa strategy. So Bantu Kumba is going to be an anesthesiologist in 2028. She immigrated from Ethiopia at 11, not knowing a word of English, so she committed herself every day to learning the language. She discovered a passion for science and joined LAYC's Teen Health Promoters Program, where she got first-hand exposure and experience in the healthcare industry. She dreams of giving equal opportunities to people by using science, and this story and many others are made possible every year by LAYC. So today I'm going to tell you about LAYC's current situation. Cody will run you through our strategy. Andrew will run you through our revenue diversification portion. Caroline will go through our volunteer program before we wrap it up. So Latin American Youth Center, since 1968, has fostered youth development in the areas of social needs, academic needs, and career needs through the organic growth of over 50 programs. Their current challenges include a highly convoluted organizational structure, high dependence on government funding, and operating losses over $700,000 for fiscal years 2013 and 2014, and a highly underutilized volunteer base. We considered many options against the most important metrics for success, and using our scoring system, we decided to pursue customized consulting, capitalizing on LAYC's expertise in youth development, and developing their youth volunteer program.
Please excuse my voice here, guys. So noticing the challenges that we faced, we developed a strategy, the DV strategy, diversify and volunteer. We decided that we needed to diversify our revenue streams so that we weren't so dependent on government subsidies, which we noticed was at 73.5%. Now, looking at the volunteer program, we also noticed that compared to other organizations, we didn't have a large volunteer base that we were putting into our programs that we currently have. So we decided that while increasing our revenue, we would develop a consulting practice, and also that would help create completely different revenue streams that are completely unreliant on government subsidies. And this would be something that we could enact all across the organization and go to many different organizations that would use this. So also increasing our volunteer effectiveness was something that we thought would really be beneficial with how many people are in the DC area. So the opportunities that we saw were tremendous with how many people are here, with how many students, with the outreach programs that are currently available. We thought that this would be a great place to be more accessible to the youth, grow the program, and actually try to see if we can have a bigger impact with new participants. So after looking at the financials and aligning ourselves with our strategies, we found a net present value between $1.3 and $1.4 million realized between now and 2020.
Thank you, Cody. Alright, so we have our primary objective right now, one of our primary objectives is to not only diversify our revenue stream, but to also increase it. Currently, over the last 3 years, LAYC has achieved a compound annual growth rate of about -3% in terms of their revenue. And they're operating at a -$700,000 or so loss after revenue minus expenses. So we have to emphasize not only diversifying our revenues, but also increasing them. So one of our primary plans is we're going to restart our impactful consulting as specialists. They're implementing the PYD program at multiple partner organizations across the DC area. So we're going to be focusing on other nonprofits that specialize in taking care of youth, and we're going to be basically teaching them how to optimize their organizational structure with the PYD curriculum to deliver the best products to their youth. So we're planning to rebrand it so we can differentiate against a lot of other competitors that have similar programs, like the Alternative Youth Development Program of DC Reads, and we also believe that this is going to help other organizations help their children very effectively, which is actually very much in tandem with our own goals. This is going to expand the recognition of LAYC because we're going to have our own product attached to our brand, even when it's being used by other organizations. This will also help in our volunteering efforts because we'll just have more brand name recognition in the future. This is also a really great revenue opportunity, and the costs more than pay for themselves. And this is also a really great way for us to compete against other local nonprofits for activity donations, etc. So we considered 3 different options in how we would want to license out the PYD program to maximize the efficiency of our plans. So option one is to license it out generally. That would entail basically we send out a small team to an organization, and they run like a week-long kind of seminar. And they'll teach the team the basics and the fundamentals of the PYD program and how they can customize it in their implementation of the strategy. And this will indirectly improve the lives of children because the people who are working in those organizations will be better prepared to take care of these kids in the future. So using various different cost of equities, we estimated a net present value of this program being between $190,941.75 and $201,318.84. However, we believe the second option that we considered is the best. This is a consulting team-based customization strategy, because this will allow us to send customization teams to local organizations. And these customization teams, they're going to study the actual organization. They're going to study everything about what makes this organization tick, who are the children that they serve, and how will they best benefit from a proper implementation of the PYD program. This is going to most efficiently improve the lives of the children, because the organization that we work with will be best able to use the PYD program to their benefit. And also it will be very profitable and very stable source of revenue for LAYC. We estimated MPVs of $1,383,396.81 to $1,440,980.59. The third option we considered was a continuing education unit, meaning we would partner with local universities and try to sell our PYD program to them for them to teach their students. So this could have like an indirect impact on the kids, because we're basically teaching professionals who would be probably involved in these services, but they're not really in an organization together, so they don't have the kind of synergies that would develop as a result of just working together and thinking about how can we implement this in our organization. And to be honest, it helps the individuals more than the children. And we don't think that's really in line with the mission of LAYC, which is to promote the lives and development of youth. So that's why we decided to scratch that option. Right.
Great, thank you, Andrew. All right, so the second main portion of our program focuses on volunteers. So as we were looking on the website and learning more about the current volunteer program, we recognized 3 main weaknesses. Those are in recruiting, effectiveness, and retention. So we want to make it easier for volunteers to apply. We want to make it easier for them to schedule shifts and for them to stay committed to the organization long term. We want to make this an empowering opportunity for both the youth and the volunteers. So we're in the DC area here, and we actually have over 41,000 undergraduate students between 6 major institutions of higher learning. So we have a lot of motivated, forward-thinking college students. They might be really interested in social entrepreneurship. They might be interested in social justice. They might actually be interested in both. And so we figured out that if just 1% of that approximately 41,000 students signed up for 3 2-hour shifts over the course of the school year, LAYC could actually benefit from 615 volunteer shifts, and I think that would be really great for our students. So first, we decided to benchmark, compare to other organizations across the country that are serving similar needs. So we compared to a place called Home, which is an LA organization, as well as Chicago youth programs in Chicago, obviously. So as you can see, the numbers that stand out to you right away, number of volunteers at the bottom. We've got 40 to 100 versus about 1,000 and over 600. So we started thinking about the biggest industries in the 21st century, and obviously that's computer science and coding. So we have 6 major universities in the DC area. These are some highly motivated students. Many are interested in computer science. They might be pursuing majors in computer science. And we want to create a new program called LAY Codes. This would be run by student volunteers from these 6 institutions. It would be a club that meets twice monthly, and it would provide benefits for both the youth and the volunteers. There are 3 main points to this project. Empower, so empower community youth. Engage local college students, and create a community. So this is an extra mentoring program. And our first project is to help us streamline our scheduling system. So right now, the scheduling system for our volunteers involves making a commitment for a number of months. We want to make it really easy so that people are on the fly and they can go right in.
Ready to take questions? Thank you.
Yes. Sorry, I'm going to jump into the numbers, which has been my trend here. Can you tell me how you got to the NPVs for the different options you were looking at?
Yeah, the assumptions. So firstly, I calculated the beta, the market risk. So since it's a nonprofit, I had to use publicly traded consulting firms. So I found 6 that vaguely captured management consulting rather than environmental consulting or litigation consulting. So I've targeted these 6: information, Hackett, resource, for an industry-adjusted beta of 1.27. I looked up the average MRP used in about 1,400 companies in America, so average market risk premium of 5.5%. We considered 4 different risk-free rates, and then adjusted our WACC by lowering 100 basis points, since nonprofits are a little less risky than publicly traded firms. So we considered WACCs from 6.9% to a more conservative 8.9%.
Yeah, so the way we estimate the cost structure of these programs is that we basically looked at what the potential inputs of all these programs would be, and we compared them with the ongoing programs that LAYC has right now. Because this is like a service industry, a lot of these costs are very similar, like insurance and like SAP and communication and stuff like that. These costs are the same regardless of what exactly these people are doing. So this made it pretty easy to come up with a cost structure for the program. And we estimated that we would give them salary to $55,000, so it would be competitive rates, and they would be able to be fully committed to the program. We also made adjustments to training costs, etc., depending on the intensity of the program. And then we created a contribution margin of 20% for our original, for the first idea about licensing it out as like a straight lecture series kind of thing. And the second thing about consulting teams and whatnot, we created a 50% contribution margin. We found those prices are very similar and actually pretty relatively cheaper for nonprofits compared to other consulting firms.
Sorry. For the different options, the impact of those different options, the continuing education unit, can you explain more what that would be, what that produces exactly?
Right, well essentially it just trains the students of these continuing education programs, like who are enrolled, like if like you were in the School of Continuing Studies at Georgetown University, for example, then you would be essentially be like trained in how to use the PYD program yourself whenever you were part of an organization. So this is more like preparation for the individual rather than like helping an organization better help a child directly.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the Salsa app? I know you guys ran out of time when you were talking about it, but
Sure, we'd love to.
I want to hear some more features of it.
Okay, we'd love to. All right, so SalsaApp is essentially the first project that we would assign to this LAY Codes team. So as I mentioned, the scheduling system right now is a little bit convoluted and it really doesn't make it very easy. So we wanted to create an app that would have 2 different sides. So we make it, well, I say we, I really mean that we would assign this to our LAY Codes team. So that would be the club mentored by the college students. So this is just our prototype, an example of something that they might come up with. So we have 2 different sides. On the left, we have options for student volunteers, so they can just go right in and schedule themselves for a shift. Cody, you want to help us out here?
Oh, sure.
All right, so Cody wants to help out with homework tutoring today. There we go, so he just confirms his sign up. Super, super quick. You can do this on the fly. Makes it really nice and simple. And then over on the right, you can see that that would be available for the youth so that they can really quickly check out what's going on today, what's going on in the weeks to come. Just make it a little bit more fun, and honestly, I think this would be a really great idea for them to be able to take a little more ownership over the community. That way they're not feeling like these events are being put on by other people. They're really getting to like empower themselves, learning entrepreneurial skills, and learning more about tech. These are really highly marketable skills as they move forward in their careers.
That dance-a-thon is going on like right now.
It is indeed.
That is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. today.
Okay. Do you have a sort of assessment of the impact on the youth that you serve as a result of these recommendations?
We had more of a just kind of general goal to just improve the reach, improve the impact. So we didn't actually quantify how many we expected to impact, how many different wards or communities we expected to grow by. I think our overall goal was more of just to try to improve the LAYC's brand awareness, to improve the capacity that they had. And that's more of where our focus went in comparison to the actual quantifying the youth that we would be in contact with.
The LACOs group, right, that's the group?
Yeah.
You say like meets twice monthly,
Mhm.
and that would be run by other volunteers, or
It
is
would-
that run by LA West, or LA CVA?
So it would be run by those volunteers from the universities that I talked about. So we're thinking of really reaching out to the universities a little bit more. I can give an example. A lot of these universities actually have coding clubs already. And I'm sure that some of those people, they have limited time. They want to get some community service opportunities, but they can't because they're in coding club and they're in computer science classes at the same time. So this is an opportunity. It's relatively low time commitment, but really powerful, meaningful. It's a win-win for everybody. So it would be run by the students themselves. That way it's not an extra cost for us.
What do you think the time, do you have any sense of what the time frame would be to get that app up and running?
I really don't. I think it's going to depend on who signs up, how many people sign up, and what the students put together themselves. I think it's really hard to estimate when this would be ready to go. We do have a volunteer program in place right now, and we don't want to rush the process because we really want it to be a powerful learning opportunity, and we want them to feel as though they can really put their best work forward. They can create the perfect app for them. I mean, this could be a career for them long term. We want it to be really powerful and fun.
It seems like for the LAY codes, you have like some expectations from them. Do you have like in mind a liaison or something in place that would actually work with their organization besides just the students? Like how, you know, for example, like they're just running the meetings, you know, in terms of timelines and things like that.
I think a lot of the students probably actually have quite a bit of expertise. Personally, I am not great with coding, I'm not going to lie to you. But I know that there are a lot of kids my age who actually are. And I'm sure that between the 6 institutions, I mean, as I already talked about, we have over 41,000 undergraduate students in the DC area. I think with that number, we can definitely find some that have expertise. I know students who have started their own businesses, who are designing apps on their own. So to me, I think it's definitely possible for us. And I know that all of us in this team know people that have started making apps themselves.
I really like the idea of LAY codes and how it could lead into a career for these at-risk youth. But did you consider the demographic that LAYC really focuses on, and if they have regular access to computers to kind of keep them interested between these twice-a-month meetings and kind of brush up on their skills between this?
Kind of from what we got from the questions and the question session that we had is that they do have some capacity at the LAYC facilities. They have some technology if the families don't. It is limited, but I do think that it's something that they try to provide. And if the kids are already involved in an array of the programs that they have, they would have access to those. So they may not be able to be there as frequently as they would like to kind of cultivate those IT computer type careers outside of the LAYC. But I think that's kind of where we're coming from there.
Going off of that, based on that, there are also computers in the teen center and the youth center, which is open every day. So I guess it challenges the youth to take more ownership over their own personal development and say, you know, we challenge you, like we'll give you these twice monthly sessions, but you have computers if you make it to the center. And once they're there, they're surrounded by other personally developmentally interested peers and tutors. So
We really want it to be something that they can own, and we want to take advantage of what I'm sure is a really awesome imagination. So we don't want to really kind of confine them and give them too much guidance. We're going to teach them the skills so that they can learn how to code, obviously, but these are kids, they have great ideas, and we want to see those come to fruition.
findings for your conclusion.
Right, so the key takeaways of this presentation are we're going to institute the revenue contribution diversification, and it's going to realize the NPV of between 1.3 million and 1.4 million over the next 5 years. We're going to be reaching a lot more youth across America through consulting with all these other nonprofit organizations that specialize in the same things that LAYC does, which is really great for our organizational mission. And we're also going to be strengthening the volunteer youth relationships through these new innovative programs like LAYC codes and the SALS app, which will make it much easier for them to coordinate with each other.
I think kind of to highlight that point, one thing that I don't think that we touched on is that the $1.3, $1.4 million will actually take over the entire amount that they had this year in government grants and subsidies. So our aim isn't to completely replace that, but it is to try to subsidize what the government revenue is with a new, more profitable revenue source.
That's also a program that would continue to grow. So it's something that we expect to see grow over the years as opposed to those government grants, which we might not see that same progress with.
Yeah, so like looking at our future project cash flows for this organization, we anticipate that with a relatively stable growth rate, we're going to increase our first year's project cash flows from $151,000 to $604,000. This is going to be completely independent of government grants, contributions, all of that. And this is a really great, this is a very great importance to this organization because they're so reliant on government grants right now.
Can we ask more questions now, if they're done? Not allowed.
Well, unfortunately, the last team I didn't allow,
Fair enough.
so I cannot do what to say. If you guys are finished, I can stop the time. We do have just barely under 3 minutes left.
So I think in conclusion, I don't think any of us really projected the amount of cash flow that we actually realized through the Impact Bill Consulting branch. I think that we kind of thought that maybe licensing it and selling it out would be an easier, more effective idea. They could just, you know, to kind of do an initial training, get rid of the program, and then sell a license for a fee. Thought that that would be an easy, kind of more simple cash flow. But actually, in crunching the numbers, it didn't even compare with how much more money we would make doing, or excuse me, how much more money they could realize if they did a consulting branch, because they have the expertise that they can leverage in actually creatively manipulating their program to each institution, to each organization, to each community, and that's really the one thing that LAYC takes to heart, is that they can take this program, adjust it to a different area, and really be successful with it.
That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.